Episode of Transitioning Humanitarians Live with Viki. Hi, Viki.
Hi, Asel. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
So today, Viki and I thought of talking a topic that is currently very painful that many humanitarians are experiencing, and the topic of forced transitioning, maybe we can call it, or because of budget cuts, because of constraints in budget, in one way or another, humanitarians' jobs loss and they feel like they now need to figure out what to do next. They are in uncertainty and therefore how to navigate the situation. That's what we really wanted to talk about. So that if you are in this situation, we wanted to also voice your pain, voice your concerns of what's going on. And we wanted to stand with you in this and also talk about what specific things you could do to navigate this difficult situation, right? So maybe, Vicky, we can first talk about what are the concerns, struggles that our clients are coming up with that are affected by this. What would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Thank you, Asel, for this introduction. Some of the concerns that we are seeing are people, colleagues being shocked that this has happened to them, that they
Yeah.
are the ones who were selected to be dismissed. Disbelief, sense of
Yeah.
injustice,
Yes.
anger, sense of injustice, saying, why me? Why I have the same qualifications, same skills, same appraisal as the other one? Why is it me? And really, I would say, yes, disbelief, disappointment.
Yeah.
And for many, those that are staying, that were not dismissed, also sense of fear. Am I the next one?
Yeah.
In this real situation where things are really unclear for many, for
Yeah.
months. So I would start
Yeah.
with this.
Yes, and I think to add to that is I have also coached clients who feel they are lost
Yeah.
and or feel stuck or they feel this is not how I thought my career would end or this is not how I thought things would end basically, right? I think this is like a shock is expressed in so many different
Mhm.
ways and also this sense of doing a lot for the organization or doing a lot for the mission, for the
Mhm.
cause, and then feeling like, now what am I going to do? Right. And I think the unpreparedness feeling of like, that's not how we expected things would go.
Yeah.
And I think that's very human. I think we're all like, when I hear colleagues, former colleagues who
Mhm.
are going through, my clients going through, I feel really their shock
Mhm.
because I think other people that I talk to as humanitarians were all like, I can't believe this person
Yeah.
is in
Yeah.
this situation, right? We never thought this person would be, or
Yeah.
this amazing
Mhm.
leader, or this amazing manager, or all of this, right? So therefore, I think this is the shock that we're going through and processing. So therefore, maybe the first way that like the way that I have been coaching and also the first thing that you could be thinking about is detaching budget cuts
Mhm.
of what's going on, detaching that from who you are as a professional,
Yeah.
what you're capable of, because it's very easy and it's human as well to believe that this must mean I am this and this, right? This must mean that I must not be good at what I do, or we tend to do a lot of downgrading our own
Yeah.
capabilities or diminishing them or
Mhm.
question them, second guessing and doubting. And I think this comes very easy to many of us. And therefore, I think the first thing that you can do to yourself is beyond being compassionate to not attach
Yeah.
what's happening in the world as to mean something is not right with you or your qualifications. I think that's the biggest disservice you do to yourself. So therefore, let's avoid that as much as possible. What would you
Yeah,
say, Vicky?
absolutely. That's one of the key things. Very often, humanitarians, and I see it as well, tend to think that because I was dismissed, it means I'm not good. But
Yeah,
these are whole different ways of dismissals. We know that they are for budget cuts, and we know that the human resources or the organization is forced to take this because of different reasons. So there might be whole different reasons that are far beyond professional experience, etc., that really are linked, that are not linked to our experiences or to your skills, etc. So that has to be
yeah,
really really separate, and it's very important to mention. At the same time as well, we have colleagues in human resources who are in the center of it and who are helping the process. But it's important to also recall that human resources are there to keep the organization running. That's their primary reason, and maybe secondarily to help you with your career. But this is really important because sometimes I see also over reliance on human resources,
yeah,
and of course they might be helping, and they're absolutely nice colleagues, always trying to help, but that's not the first reason why of their existence. The first reason is really to keep the organization running, and in a case of budget cuts it probably means really also restricting the budget. So I think this is important to also keep in mind, that um, who I am as a professional, as a person, is separate from the budget cuts. It
yeah.
affects me deeply. It affects me and makes my life probably very difficult or more difficult, but it's not who I am. That's what I say
Yes.
is really important.
And the other thing I think is important also to not get into the waiting mode. And I think that's also, I was just coaching
Hmm.
a client on this, is that I think we are very hopeful humans and we want to just hope that things will
Yes.
magically resolve and as soon as possible. And then we go back to, or maybe we go to different missions, whatever it is. But I think there is this sense of, because I don't really believe this is happening to me, I just assumed this was like a giant mistake and now
Hmm.
it's going to be fixed
Hmm.
and then I will just be going back to what I do, right?
Hmm.
And maybe that will happen, and if it does, amazing, but I really want also to for you to think about, when we are in this waiting mode, it also has a lot of toll on our emotional well-being, right? So when we are in this waiting of, okay, maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen, maybe everything will be cleared up again, I excuse me, as much as we want to believe that, maybe also the other thing you could do is thinking about, of course, taking time to take care of yourself, right? As much as you need, but also thinking about, okay, how do I, no, excuse me, how do I want to be pragmatic about this? And how do I want to either continue my career in this field or in another? And how do I want to go and place my situation in the way that I don't have too much time on my hand to be like spending on doubting and all the other things that we're saying ideally avoided, but also feeling like you are in charge and you are doing something for your own situation. Like Vicky said, not so much relying on the organization's HR, even though, again, your judgment call, right? It needs to be always first. If you believe they're there, they can help you, amazing, but also creating more options for you in that moment to say, okay, how else can I secure my next job? What are the things I can do? Or also, I was discussing with another client of mine to say, what if this might also be an opportunity for you to do the thing now that you've been wanting maybe for some time? And this is your sign to say, okay, I thought that stability was in the organization and it seems like it's not really. So
Yeah.
therefore, how else can I create my own stability? Doing what and getting like clear on that might be also time for it.
Yeah, yeah. I love, Asel, what you said, being more in charge or being in charge, because I
Yeah.
believe this is really a key word. Sometimes, often when we work with one organization, we sort of think that,
Yeah.
that somebody else, that I'm in charge, but yeah, that somebody
Yeah.
else is
Yeah.
gonna get me an assignment. But here we really have to take the charge in our hands, take a more control of our career and lives, to make sure that, yeah, we get the position or the place, whatever we want, that is more sustainable for us and that is right for us. So I would say really, because if you're relying on your organization and human resources that are really overburdened at this time, of particularly overburdened, then really, maybe you are, it's you are sitting on a thin ice, so to speak. That it's
Yeah.
important to take charge and see, maybe you can take your skills to another organization, maybe, if you're not sure, and maybe you can start looking as well more proactively. So I would say, those are important thoughts to keep in mind. And also to the first point that we had, maybe, whilst these dismissals are still happening, or maybe you're still facing, you're still waiting for decision, or maybe you have received the decision, it's important not to compare yourself to other colleagues. This is one of the very important things. Sometimes we may be really in the same position, we may have same, almost identical experience, same languages, and yet one person is kept and other one is dismissed. And I actually saw it with some of my colleagues, the- many years ago, 4 years ago, I believe, that because this started already a while ago. And it's a real shocking situation. But again, it's important not to compare yourself, because really there might be so many different reasons that we just don't see into, that are not linked with who we are as a people, with our skills. So maybe I would
Yeah.
say those, important to keep in mind.
Yes. And the other thing is, I think we, while we are doing this, I think there is this sense of, like you said, the sense of injustice, or we keep wanting to say it's unfair. We keep wanting to fight the reality. We keep wanting to resist to it, right? And I think these are very natural reactions, obviously, in these moments, but also the same reactions that we have, they tend to make us feel very emotionally drained. They tend to make us feel very powerless, like we can't really do anything about it, and we are wanting to do some justice around it, but then we feel like we don't really have resources for it, right? So we have then a lot of this back and forth struggle, which I understand why we do it, and unless you are suing the organization, I just don't see the benefit of it,
Mhm,
basically,
mhm,
right? And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be fighting for justice. By no means, please hear me well. But I think when we are in this place of it's not fair, this is not how it should be, and all of this, we just keep using
yeah,
up a lot of our resources and energy that we might actually want to spend on other areas that are far more important, that we need to take care of in the moment, right? And then once we have the ground in our feet, basically, and once we have our next job or next thing that we're going for, then once we're like stabilized from that perspective, then let's think about what was the unfairness and how we can
yeah,
remedy it, if it's a legal action we want to take or any other action, whatever it is. So that's why whenever your brain says it's unfair, like try to put it on the nightstand or try to put it away
mhm,
while you're taking care of yourself and your loved ones. I
yeah,
think that might be an important part. So the other thing maybe, Vicky, we could talk about is um, how it is for those around who are watching this, right?
mhm,
So like we said, the budget cuts does not only involve people who are affected by it directly, but also colleagues who are continuing working and how their perspective is. And what their struggles are and what they could do in such situations. What would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah, absolutely, and it's again probably a normal feeling to have fear when you are seeing as a when we are observing so many dismissals of colleagues that are highly competent that were planning on to have a career with this organization, and suddenly they need to be or they are being dismissed. Of course, the person staying is maybe has a heightened sense of fear and insecurity, and those feelings are really important to acknowledge if you have them, and at the same time not fall sort of for these feelings and become really desperate, because that would be again very, I would say it would be something that is not good for you, to feel permanently negatively, to feel this sort of desperation. So those are the moments also to take back the control of your career and of your life. That's
Yeah,
what I would say.
absolutely. I think that's the thing I was thinking, that how
Mhm,
can we like work with the system, but at the same time not expect everything from it.
mhm,
And I think we
yeah,
are usually as humanitarians fairly critical in many ways how system
mhm,
works, right? And we tend to have our analysis of how the system is and what it's doing, what it can do, what it cannot do, and all of this. We tend to do this, but when it comes to, I think, budget cuts affecting colleagues that
yeah,
you have worked together for long, and it becomes like a bit of a personal thing, then it becomes so difficult to like control our emotions, obviously, right? We have a lot of emotions around it, be it anger, whatever it is. Absolutely process or let them out within your own confines. But also in such moments, also to see that, like, how can we not let the system be the reason for us fearing it, right? Because we are fearing it probably because we feel like if we leave this job, if we lose it like others, then we will be in a very difficult situation. And instead of that, how can we then think about creating other options or believing that we can create other options in case this system that I'm working for is not going to work or work out? How else can I take care of myself and my loved ones? And these are maybe also good like areas that you can bring your brain to, so that while you have your security so far, so to say, or stability, whichever the way you call it, right? While you have that, how can you also think about, okay, if system cannot really give you the stability that you thought or the long term taken care of or long term whatever the thing that you expected, then how else can you do this for yourself, right? So what are the other options you can do? For instance, I have been coaching clients who say that they are setting up additional pension funds, for instance, right, the private ones, or they are doing more savings,
yeah,
or they are even investing more, so that they can really know that they don't need to fully rely on the system if they don't have to, also have a peace of mind basically for themselves, so that in case things don't go the way we all expected, then what else can we do basically?
yeah. Those are really opportunities for reflection, for really really challenge our the current status quo, to as you
Yeah.
say, to limit the over reliance on the organization, on the system. So those are also important sort of wake up calls for those people
Yeah.
who may be fearing that maybe there is a next part of being dismissed. I would also like to say, Asel, really that although these are very difficult situations for colleagues who really wanted to stay on and really wanted to serve with the organization, I also see it that it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to rethink. It's an opportunity to maybe do something you've always wanted to do and never had the time, never had
Mm.
the the means or something that you grab this opportunity. Sometimes maybe some people want to do additional studies, or sometimes they want to rethink, or maybe they want to take time to visit their family that they haven't had the time. So there is, in every tragedy, no matter how difficult this may be, and we sense that even the world is colliding on us and that it's so unfair, in every tragedy or difficult situation there is also an opportunity. We might not be seeing it immediately, colleagues might not be seeing it immediately, but with time this will become clear that it's also opportunity. And I remember also once, and this is many years ago, I was saying something around, I will, and this is before I was coaching. I said something around, I will never find this thing or this again. And then my friend, he said, no, maybe you will find even better.
Yeah.
And that's the limitations of our own mind. So let's be aware of how we our mind can limit us. And we
Yeah.
say we will never find the same again. Well, maybe
Yeah.
you will find better. And
Yes.
this is a challenge. Maybe I would like to leave with colleagues that um, you try to even think that there might be something better, and when you
Yeah.
believe, then things really will start working on that.
Yeah, and I think that that's a very good point. Is that if you also look at your own life, I'm sure there are always points where you thought this is like the worst that happened, and then this was like, I don't know, in my experience, right? The worst breakup ever. I will never have a relationship after this, or whatever it is. And then realizing later down the road that, oh my God, I actually realized that's not the person I I was supposed to be with, and now here's even better, right? So there's always situations I'm sure you can find it, and as much as it's difficult to do that in the moment when the emotions are high. So once you let those emotions out, then afterwards also you can think about, okay, how can you not be a victim of the situation,
Yeah.
basically, right? And instead being the powerful professional you who have made many things successful so far. You have made career, you have made things work the way that you wanted, in places that you maybe even never thought you would do it.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you are able to do this so far, then let's, like, why doubt that you wouldn't be able to do this now, right? So therefore, why not even like use this as a way for you to say, okay, I'm going to make a better outcome than ever before. So how would that look like? And working towards it, whether that's within the sector or outside of it,
Hmm.
this might be then the chance for every one of us really to reflect how we always thought things would go one way, and then how in life is things then go in a different direction, and then you're like surprised, but at the end
Hmm.
we always somehow make it work, and and we want to trust that you will do this too for yourself, for your loved ones, so that you feel proud for having done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I think we said a lot. Vicky, anything else?
One thing I would like to add, be kind to yourself. One of the
Yeah.
very frequent feature is we are very harsh with ourselves. We really even want to punish ourselves for something that happened even without us. So really, be nice to yourself, give yourself time. If you are affected by these job losses, recuperate energy, and then you can start really working on the way forward, because there is a way forward.
Yes, I love this. So if you need coaching on this or have question around this, absolutely come and tell us or message us. We'd love to help you to go through this tough times. And we want to, yeah, we want to be supportive of everyone who's in one way or another struggling and not really knowing where it's all going. And in such situations, I think it's so important to rely on the network, rely on the people around, to rely on people you trust, that you love. And we want to be part of that support. If you would like, come talk to us. and would love to do as much as we can. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
beautiful week. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.